Hi everyone, I just wanted to come before you with another video. I was woken up at 3 a.m. to record this video. And so what I want to talk about today is, I don't know if you all are aware of it or not, but I have shared this with several of my family and friends and even sent them documentation like last year that this was coming. Um, the CDC recently voted unanimously 15-0 to make the the jab a mandatory part of your children's immunization records. So now what does that mean? That means that now the CDC does not regulate. They're not a regulatory company, but they put out their, and notice I said company because they're not a government funded organization as we think or as we were told. They are actually privately owned, and the CDC is actually a vaccine company. They manufacture vaccines. That's what they do. And so, but they voted 15-0 to recommend that the states make this a part of the immunization requirements for your children to go to school. So that means that each state takes that and goes by whatever CDC recommendations are. It's up to the state level. The state can accept or reject it, but most states, majority of the states, follow the CDC guidelines and the CDC recommendations. And I notice these are only recommendations, but most states follow it. Like, for instance, there's no reason for a newly born child to receive a hepatitis, shot in the hospital when they're only 1 day old. It's no reason. And if you even look it up, it says that for a parent that has been like on drugs, sharing needles and stuff like that. So if you haven't been shooting up and sharing needles with people, then there's no need for your child to, at 1 day old, fresh out of the womb, to receive something when it takes the child's their first year. They're developing an immune system. They don't even have one at that point. So it's no need to give it to them. And then whatever you're giving them is going directly, because they don't have an immune system, it's going directly to their brains, directly to their organs. It's just a mess. But anyway, let me stay on track. So there's something that's coming to these schools. And so you might want to go ahead, and I know a lot of parents, felt the pain during the when we were at home, and everything, and parents had to homeschool for a year. Parents couldn't wait to get their children back in the buildings, but you might want to go ahead and get your children back home with you, because this is another reason why I decided not to take a contract this year and just stay at home for now, because it's just some ugly things that's coming. Let me just go ahead and share with you how your kids are being groomed to accept this. So the first thing I'm going to share is a video. We were told last school year, this was in November of last year, everyone had to turn their blackboards, tune their blackboards into the county's website for a puppet show. And this was on the elementary level. But then middle school had a different show. High schoolers had a different show. But I'm going to show you what it was all about.
Last year, I had to stay home and do virtual school with my teacher and my classmates on my computer because people were getting sick from a virus, the COVID virus. You cannot see viruses with your eyes. They are one of the tiniest non-living creatures on earth. If they get into your lungs, they can make you sick. My teacher said that doctors and scientists have been working hard to develop something to help people's bodies to fight off the virus. They call it the COVID vaccine. My mommy and daddy took the vaccine already. My teacher said that she got it. And she said the middle school and high schoolers could take it too. I wonder when I will be able to have the COVID vaccine. Roof, roof.
All right, so can you imagine sitting through an excruciating 45 minutes of this horrible puppet show, but it was all about grooming the children to accept this when it comes out. And it said, and constantly throughout the video, they would say, it's time for you to get yours. It's time for you to get yours. And the child will say, will it hurt? And they'll say, no, it'll just feel like a little pinch, just like this. And it'll be over before you know it, when you get your 2 doses and all this type of stuff. And so this is what is going on. This is what your children are being shown in schools. And they're watching this propaganda. And they're hearing about it, and it's being, and the students are so they don't want to take their mask off. They're like afraid. A lot of them are, they keep their mask on. And so it's kind of like, when this comes, they may even be looking forward to it, because this is what they've been hearing about. I'm going to show you a little more of this and then another video.
Imani has a conversation with her parents, and they share important information with Imani regarding the COVID-19 vaccine. Imani, we have some great news. The Food and Drug Administration of the federal government has approved a vaccine for young children like you.
We are so relieved because now you can get the COVID vaccine and be protected from the virus. The COVID vaccine is like a security guard, keeping out the COVID viruses. When you get the 2 doses of the vaccine, you won't get very sick or give COVID viruses to anyone else. Mommy, when you got your COVID vaccine, did it hurt? No, my sweetie, it didn't hurt. It felt like a quick pinch and then it was over. The nurse gave me a card that said, I have been vaccinated against the COVID virus. Dad has one too. When you get your COVID vaccine, the nurse will give you one as well.
Don't you worry, baby girl. You'll be just fine.
All right. So this is, one of the videos that I wanted to show you. And then see, last year, all this stuff has already been in the works. So that's all I'll say. And I told family and friends about this last year, and I shared some of the documentations that I have from, I always pull from credible sources. I pull directly from the World Health Organization's website, from various governmental websites, whitehouse.org, looking up different executive orders. They've been signing a lot of executive orders behind the scenes to put this stuff into play. So, and there are already vans going out and people coming home. I mean, people upset saying that their children are coming home and have had, a shot or whatever without their consent. And I'm going to show you how this is possible. All right, how do I get out of this? Hold on.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
We've been waiting for.
We've
been masked to the max and washing our hands galore. That's just the start.
That's just the start.
If you wanna be.
If you wanna be.
A brave superhero protecting both you and me.
I'm gonna roll my sleeve. 'Cause when I get my vaccine, I'm protecting my whole community. Fauci, ouchie, sit on the couchie, made my shirt slouchy, toy for my pouchy, wasn't even grouchy, so glad I got my vaccine.
Okay, truth time. How was your vaccine really?
It wasn't so bad, it just hurt for a second when they shoved the needle in my arm.
Well, that's a shining endorsement. I think.
Okay, so this is the type of stuff that once again, that your children are seeing in the schools, to make them, to kind of groom them and make them used to. Okay, sorry, y'all. Make them used to this. So now let me show you something else. So I want to first show you all this paper from the WHO. I downloaded this maybe a year and a half ago. And this is their pamphlet regarding, immunization of children between 6 and 7 years of age. But what I want to focus on is page 3, section 3. Page 3 says common approaches for obtaining consent for the what, but I'm going to go down to paragraph 3 where it discusses implied consent. And it says implied consent, an implied consent process by which parents are informed of imminent vaccination, through social mobilization and communication, sometimes including letters directly addressed to parents. Subsequently, the physical presence of the child or adult with or without accompanying parent at the session is considered implied consent. Let me read that again. Subsequently, the physical presence of the child or adolescent with or without an accompanying, I don't know why I can't say that word, parent at the session is considered implied consent. This practice is based on the opt-out principle, and parents who do not consent to the what are expected to implicitly take steps to ensure that their child or adolescent does not participate in the session. This may include not letting the child or adolescent attend school on that day if the delivery occurs through the school. See, it's a reason, y'all, that they put all the nurses, every elementary, middle, and high school now has people there prepared to give the you know what. It was targeted towards 12 and older, but now that the that the CDC just passed this, making it a part of the records 15-1, now that this has taken place, and it says for ages 6 months and up. So that means even if you have a child going to school in the kindergarten or pre-K, they can come home with a shot in their arm without your consent. And it says here that parents can opt out. Your expectations of opting out is not to have your child at school on the day that it occurs. However, you will not be told what day it will occur. You will not be told what day it occurred. They will just decide on whatever day. And it says that if your child is present, that is considered implied consent. Whether you have a religious exemption form or some type of other form against it in their records, if they are present, that is implied consent. And then there's also some verbiage on page 4. It talks about outbreaks. It talks about, outbreaks and the reason for mandatory V's is when outbreaks occur and stuff like that. So, and once again, it says something about attending, school. So I'm telling y'all, heed this warning. This warning is not just from Sean Hines. This warning is from the Most High, because you're going to be held accountable. You are going to be held accountable if you allow basically your child to be sacrificed, because that's what it is, a sacrifice to the gods. Did you all know that there is a goddess of there is a goddess we're in Babylon. Every god under heaven, except for the God of heaven, is worshipped here. And there is a goddess, even a goddess of syringe, where we get the root word for syringe is syrinx. There's a goddess named Syrinx that's worshipped through the syringe. There's a goddess named Shatila Malta that is the goddess of immunization.